Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We'll be getting started in another minute or so, just letting everyone join. But thank you so much for being here today. I am located in San Diego, California. If you like to share where you're located, I just kind of like wonder if we have people all over the country or maybe outside of the country. So that would be nice to hear. So feel free to drop on the chat just before we get started. See, oh my gosh, we have people everywhere. Thank you so much for joining. Awesome. I'll say hi to everyone really quick. My name is Talita Barnaby. I am a customer success manager here at Healthie. We have a few others with us here today. Hi, Priya, Jan, and Chrissy. They're part of the Healthie team as well. So they will be assisting us on the chat and doing the open Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on the open Q&A and we'll be here supporting you through this live class. So we are ready to get started. I am going to be turning off my camera just because I'm looking at multiple monitors, but feel free to continue to participate on the chat. I'll be sharing my screen right now. Hopefully all of you can see my screen, and let's get started. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining our live class today. My name is Talita Barnaby, and as I mentioned a few minutes ago, but maybe we have like people that just joining in right now, I am in San Diego, California. I wish I could say it's sunny, but we've been having a lot of raining here, so really wet. But today we are here to learn how to streamline your billing practice with Healthie's billing automation. In our agenda for today, we have a few different topics, but if you are here, you as a dedicated provider, you have mastered the art of delivering exceptional care to your clients. Now is just time to enhance the organizational efficiency of the automating your billing process. So you know that in Healthie, there's so much more that we can do, but sometimes figuring it out and making sure what works for you is the tricky part, right? So hopefully today we can clarify some of those questions and improve your billing automation so you can better streamline your billing practice. Awesome. But just before we get started, I will be sharing I am sharing my screen, but I will be logging in into the Healthie portal and we're going to be looking together the automation and some of those settings. But even before we get started, I just have like some questions that they're really helpful to like better understand it. As I mentioned before, I am a customer success manager here at Healthie. So I'm usually helping customers with workflow and helping them troubleshoot to make sure things that we have offering in the Healthie platform, it's being used for you and your organization. So the first, a few questions that I have, maybe you might want to write it down to think about it later. It might be helpful. So do you want the system to auto charge your client once the appointment is marked as occurred? So that's something to think about. You do have the ability to set a price for appointment types and automatically schedule charges for clients at a per session basis. So right here you see, are you charging upfront or after appointment? Are you charging clients before or after they connect with you? Just thinking about when you want the clients to pay for those service, if it is before you're talking to them, so paying upfront, or after the work is done, right? So after you, the provider, talk to the client, are you charging them after? So those are two different ways that we can do in the system and something that you have to decide as a provider. The next one is invoices versus card on file. You probably already know that you do have the option to add to collect billing like credit card information in the platform, but you do also have the option to send an invoice. So we'll be sending invoices or charging a credit card on file after those appointments. And another thing to think about it too is adjust pricing. So this one is a feature that we have it available, and it pretty much it lets you charge different costs per client or per provider. So this one I'm going to be showing a little, like in a little bit, you'll be able to like understand it, what this means, but it's just sometimes you have different layers of providers in the organization that they might charge differently hourly, right? Maybe we have, I'm giving the example of like a dietitian, maybe we have like a higher up dietitian that it's charged X amount of an hour versus maybe a new graduate dietitian that's charging a different cost. So you do have the option to adjust the pricing in the platform, or you also have the option to adjust per client basis. So we see sometimes maybe client A is charged $50 for the appointment, but client B is charged $75. So if you do have any of those changes in any of the different prices, you do have the option to adjust pricing. Right now, I see a few hands being raised. If you want to just continue to drop your questions in the chat, that will be really helpful. Just because I am not able to take questions right now, but I will be saving time at the end of this class to go over any questions that we might have. Awesome. So right now I am going over to our Healthie page, and we're going to review some of those settings that we just talked about. So after you thought about if you're collecting payments before or after, or if you're sending invoice, or if you're charging right away. So after you decide that, then it's time to implement in the platform so the system can work for you and just can help you leverage some of these automations. So the first thing that we're going to look at it, even before we talk about those automation, is the financial. Healthie uses Stripe to collect payment. So let's go ahead and look at, so we're going, let me take a step back. So right here on this page where we say, good morning, Talita, we have our gear symbol, which most of you are probably familiar with this. We have settings on the top right corner. We have financial. And then right here under business is where we wanted to be adding this information. You can see that I am receiving a little pop-up right here that says, please add your bank account and verification info. So you as a provider, you must complete this information first before you're collecting payments in the platform, and just make sure you submit for verification details. In here, once you do this, let's go over and you can check where you'll see that this is enabled. So that information you're entering at the financial, then when you scroll down under features, we have integrations. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a Stripe to be enabled. So in here, as you might already know, the Healthie uses a Stripe. There is a processing fee of like 2.9% plus 30 cents, the transaction for the credit card payments. And we do accept credit card, debit card, HSA, and FSA cards. Awesome. So once here is enabled, if for any reason you're receiving any errors or you're having any issues verifying your account information, definitely feel free to reach out to hello@gethealthy.com and our team will be happy to support you there. But awesome. So once now this is completed, we are going to go back to our settings page. And now we're looking at those automations. So we're going over to calendar, we're clicking appointments. Awesome, let's scroll down and we're looking for payments and credits. Right here, we are going to click this little blue pencil on the right. And this is some of the settings that we have available. On you, if you're going here for the first time, this is probably what it looks like for you, right? So if you're going here, I just change it over. So payments and credits, I click edit. This might be what it looks like for you on your end if you're coming here for the first time. So let's take a look and see what each one of this means just before you are toggling things on and off and just enabling here. The first one is the option pricing per appointment. So in here, you allow to set up pricing for the appointment and automate the charging. So this is the first setting that you want to turn it on if you do plan on leveraging the automatically charges or the automatically invoices. The next one in here is automatically charge for appointments set as occur. When you set an appointment as occur, a client who has a valid credit card information on the file, they will be charged scheduled for the day after the appointment. I will show you how to mark an appointment as occur in a little bit. Let's go over the credits first after, not the credits, the payment information. Let's go over this section first, and then after I will go over to calendar and make sure you know how to set those appointments as occur if you're not aware of it, since that's what is going to trigger this automation. Awesome. So in here, if I click this box, a few others going to appear. The next one is the automatically invoice clients without a valid payment card or with auto charging disabled. So this one pretty much means is that if the client does not have a credit card on file, would you like to automatically send it an invoice? This is really helpful if you remember some of those questions that I was asking in the beginning of the class, things to think about it, of sending an invoice versus charging the credit card on file. So here's something that you can enable in order to make it easier for you if this is like applicable for your organization. The next one, it was the advanced pricing. We did talk a little bit right when we started, things to think about it, right? Are you having different prices per either per provider or per client? So this option, if you need to charge a client different rate based on the options below. So you can see, so anytime, I know like today I'm gonna be sharing like a lot of information. If you forget anything that I just said, anytime you hover over this like little question marks all over the platform, you can normally see a little bit more about that. And always, you're probably gonna hear me saying this a lot, but please always feel free to reach out to hello@gethealthy.com. We are here supporting you. This class is being recorded as well. So hopefully I know that our team will be able to share with you as well. So right here, we're looking now at advanced pricing. So we have two different options that we like to review. The first being a different rate depending on which provider a client has an appointment with, or option two, a different rate depending on which client has an appointment. So in here, you can choose one or the other. So if you want to have different prices per client, you can go ahead and choose this one. But if you want to have different appointments per provider, you can choose this one. For this class, I'm going to go ahead and choose different prices per client, just because I've been hearing this a lot. Sometimes new organizations, or maybe they're new to Healthie, they're starting using, and some of their clients have been with them for like years, and they're charging them something different than what their new clients are charging. And I know this is something that providers sometimes like think about it and they don't know how to like move forward from it. So this is like an option that you can just have different prices for clients if you have those like special clients that maybe you were charging them something different before you moved here to the Healthie platform. We do have a few other settings in here as well. I can see here the client system. I see a question coming in, and I know I said I wasn't going to be answering questions, but this is like a really great question. So I'm going to just like answer to everyone. If for any reason you do not see any of the settings that I am showing to you right now, and you are part of a group plan or like an organization, it might be because you don't have the certain permissions or settings in your account. So for any reason, if anyone in here, you are in a group plan and you're not the account owner, it might just be that you don't have the permission to revisit or edit this, the settings. So definitely reach out to your account owner, and then you can like look into some of these settings and having permission to enable them. In here, right underneath payments and credits, we do also have the credit system. I'm not going over this credit system too much. If anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to either drop on chat. We do have many live classes, so maybe team, if you can go ahead and link our other live classes as well. I think would be really beneficial so people can have it. But for now, I am going to go ahead and save the changes. So just to revisit, in this page, it's where we have the option to have a pricing per appointment, enable the automatically charge when the appointment is marked as occur, automatically invoices, and advanced pricing. So this is where all that information lives. So we can go ahead and click Save Changes. Awesome. So this is the page that I am on right now. So we were like a settings. I can see your appointment settings work successfully updated. Amazing. So now let's take a look at those appointments and setting specific appointment types and the pricing per appointment type. So right underneath the calendar, I'm clicking appointment types. Awesome. So right in here, you have a list of your appointment types. Again, if you're part of a group plan, you might not have access to the service that the organization is offering. But if you are the account owner or like a solo practitioner on some of our different plans, then you do have access to this appointment type view. Awesome. So in here, you probably already know that this is where all your service live, right? So any service that you are offering in the Healthie platform, anything from discovery calls, initial consultations, or any type of offering to your clients, here's where you can add it. You can have as many as you like it. And right here, if you already have an existing appointment, then now you're thinking about enabling the pricing per appointment and changing some of those settings, you can definitely just go ahead and edit that appointment. So let's take a look at how to do that. On the three little dots, anytime you see these three little dots in the platform, you see them like all over the place, usually like on our forms, on some profiles. Anytime you see these three little dots to the right, they mean action. So let's go ahead and click in here and see what we can do. So this page is opening and we see the initial 101. As you probably already know, the initial 101 is what the client can see, and that's the name of my appointment, the name of my service. So right here, I'm not going to go too much through like some of these other settings. Hopefully some of you are already aware of this. If not, definitely join our other live classes, or feel free to reach out to our team if you have any questions, or just drop your questions on the chat. But for this one specifically, what we wanted to look at it today is this option right here, the pricing. So this button is only going to be populated if under the calendar appointments, you enable that. So I'm gonna just show you one quick time. So the appointments, payments and credits, edit. This first option, it's what going to trigger that under the appointment type, so you can have the pricing per appointment. If this is turned off, you're not going to see that little pricing under the appointment type. So let's go back to appointment type, three dots to the right, edit. Pricing, awesome. So right in here, we have our appointment pricing. You have the option to set the price for the appointment, and you can see something else in here that says one custom client price set. So a few things that I wanted to explain here. So the first one being the price for the appointment. You are able to put an actual cost for the appointment, but keep in mind that the client is not paying for this before they talk to you. They're paying for this after the appointment is marked as occur. If they have a credit card on file, you can charge the credit card. If they don't, and you have the next permission setting enable under here, the appointments tab, you can send an invoice. So just keep in mind that this is based off the occur automation from the calendar. Again, I'm going to show you how to do that. Just give me a few minutes, but keep in mind that this is the client is not paying before they're talking to you. They're paying after the appointment occurred. So if the appointment is $100, but let's say I have a different client, Susie, that she is with me for a little bit longer, and I am charging her a different price. Sorry, I had to like stop sharing my screen. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Awesome. So right here, I have settings. Let me go back. Sorry, I had a little glitch on my page. I have edit. So right here, we have our pricing for the appointment type. So if I have like Susie, for example, she is my client and she's actually being charged $50 for the appointment instead of the $100. I am able to do so in here. Just give me one more minute. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm not sure what's happening with my page. I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen in 1 second. Awesome. So I do want to show where the pricing for the appointment will happen. Let me just try to go back to the page again and see why I'm receiving the error. Let's look at it one more time. Right here, we do also, when we're editing the appointment, we do have the option for actual duration, increase price. So this one is an option that you can enable, you can turn it off. So if this is an appointment, initial one-on-one for $100, you can definitely leave it this way if that's what it's always going to be. However, we also know that some providers, they are charging for their time, right? So if they are if this is like a 30-minute session for $100, if the session go overtime to 45 minutes to an hour, whatever that might be, it might be an increase on the price, which we know that it is applicable for some. So if this checkbox is checked, a client will be charged an additional amount if the actual duration of their appointment, when you enter under the session details, is longer than the scheduled duration. So at the same place where we have the appointment as occur, we do have the option to enter the session duration. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit, but just keep in mind that you do have this option. So the additional amount is calculated by prorating the regular price that is set for the appointment based on 15 minutes increments. We do have a few examples in here if you want to like read it through. And if you forget anything that I just said, you can just go ahead and click the question mark here on the right to review anything. So in here, I can see I have this initial consultation one-on-one for 30 minutes. It's $100. I do have the actual duration increase per price, but one of my clients is receiving a different payment information. So we're going to take a look at that in 1 second. Before we get there, I did mention collecting credit card information from clients when they're first coming into the platform. So what does that mean? So pretty much when the clients are onboarding, all of you might already know, under our forms and then intake flows, anyone coming into the Healthie platform, and literally anyone and everyone will be prompted to complete an intake flow. It's up to you to set up the intake flow correctly in the platform. So let's say if you have a discovery group that receives a specific type of intake flow, you can set it up that way versus your insurance customers or your new patients or whatever that may be. You are able to have different intake flows for different customers. However, everyone will be prompted to complete some type of intake flow. So normally during the intake flow is the best way to collect information both for insurance and credit card information. So let's go ahead and take a look how to add that. Under the intake flow, you probably have one that's called your default. The default is the one that's going to everyone in the platform unless you marked otherwise, right? So you can see right here, we do have some other really great live classes that goes over intake flow. So I definitely invite you to join those. But for this class, let's just go ahead and take a look how to add the billing and the insurance form. So let's take a look. I have this one, my default class, those three little dots again. So if I click on them, I can click manage. Keep in mind that if you click the drop down option, you can also see everything that's included in here. However, if I'm clicking the three little dots from the welcome message or the cancellation, I'm only able to view or remove it. So if you're looking to manage by adding or removing something, you might just want to go to the first option, so next to your calendar day, and then clicking manage. Awesome. Right here is where we can add the billing form and the insurance form. So I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this so we can add it together. Awesome. So this is, we have the welcome message. I have some cancellation policies, some agreements, some consent. Right underneath here, you see this gray bar that says add a form to the intake flow. And then right underneath here, I have select existing form. So if I click billing info and add to the intake flow, it shows right under here. Of course, that you can move things up and down. So like, let's say collecting billing information is really important for you in your business, then maybe what you want to do, it might be moving up a little bit. You're able to move them up and down, so you can move them around here in the intake flow. The next one is insurance forms. You're also able to collect that when I go ahead and click insurance form and add it. Keep in mind that we do have this. I'm going to go ahead and move the insurance form to the top so we can look at it together. We do have the option to have this little box that says requires. So it pretty much means that the platform is going to stop you from moving forward and doing other things as the client, right? So the platform is going to stop your client from doing other things in the platform until they complete their intake flow. Of course, if this is not required, it's not like really mandatory for you, you don't need to have it as required. But if this is something like essential, your insurance clients, you really need this insurance form, then sometimes it's better to mark as required, just to make sure your client is completing this paperwork before you're working with them. So here, let's take a look. When we click in preview, you see that the welcome message, you can add it. You can add in more information here under this little pencil. I am able to add as much as I want to. And let's go ahead and look at the billing information. In here is where you can collect the credit card information. So by having the credit card on file is when you can like send those like automatically charges. Keep in mind that if your client is joining the platform from maybe buying a package, the system is also saving their credit card on file, which it could allow you to automatically charge after an appointment. So those are the two ways that normally the system saves the credit card on file from the client, is when you add it to collect the billing information or when the client is purchasing a package. Awesome. And in here, we do have the option, because I know I mentioned a little bit earlier today about credit card, FSA, and HSA. So on the actual client's end, they're able to choose which type of payment this is. The next form is our insurance policy form. So right in here, it does allow the clients to have to enter their policy, their insurance card, their member ID. So this is really great to collect, because all this information, when you're asking from the client right from the beginning, it's being saved to the client profile. And it's just like use it like really easy to track later on. So I definitely recommend collecting this information right from the beginning. And if you are like accepting insurance, it might be helpful to take a look into groups and maybe even having like a group for called self-pay and insurance pay. So that might really be helpful to keep things like clean and organized in the platform. Awesome. So now we looked at our forms, how to collect some of the information. We revisit our settings. We looked how to set it up, some of those automatic billing, how to set the price for the appointment. Now let's look at how to mark those appointments as occur and even like the timing for them, right? So let's say, let's go to Sean Barnaby. Let's create an appointment for them. Awesome. Let's go ahead and book an appointment. Let's pretend we have, because that was the one that we added. The pricing was the initial 101 for 30 minutes. It's a video call. Right now is 9:31. Let me see. I am on Pacific Standard Time. I'm gonna put it 9:30 just so the appointment maybe like it's already passed so we can like look at it. And let's go ahead and click create. Yep, create anyways. Awesome. So right here on this appointment, if I click on it, right in here under the status is where I can mark the appointment as occur. You'll also have access. Let me actually go back because under the home page, you're also able to click on the appointment. Right in here is where you can, of course, start charting, join the appointment, cancel the appointment, and where you can like see it. So let's go ahead, going back to my clients page. And the appointment itself. Under this status, you can mark the appointment as occur, cancel, no show, reschedule. So the first one being mark as occur. So remember all those settings. The first setting that we turned it on was mark the appointment, charge a client if appointment is marked as occur. So this is what it means. In order to set all those triggers and automations, you have to manually come in here and mark the appointment as occur. And here under the duration is the time that you can set the duration with our client. So this, I can see that was a 30-minute one-on-one consultation, but let's say if maybe was a 45 minutes consultation, then I can go ahead and mark it here in the system. But if it was just like a 30 minutes, you can just go ahead and charge the 30 minutes and go ahead and save it. So now I know that for them specific client, I'm gonna go ahead, if the client has the credit card on file, it would automatically charge them. If not, because of some of my settings, will automatically send an invoice to the client. Awesome. So now that we are here on our, and I see a few more questions, and I promise you we're almost done. So hopefully we can go over any of those good questions that we have in the chat right now. So right here we are under the profile of Sean Barnaby. I am looking, let's take a look at two things. The first one being the pricing for appointment, right? Let's say Sean Barnaby has a specific cost for the appointment, and I don't want to charge them the $100 for the initial consultation. I want to charge them less than that. When I go over here to actions, here we can see appointment pricing. And then right here, we have the option to change the appointment, and we are able to choose which appointment. So right in here, you can see that I chose the initial 101, but let's see how to do other ones. So if I just click here, let's pretend if this wasn't here, all I have to do is you can add a new appointment type price, and you're able to add as many as you like. So if you offer like different service, you are able to add it to all of your service or only one. So in here, let's say my initial consultation that we just created, that's actually like $100. Maybe this one, I want to charge $20 to Sean. And then maybe my follow-up, I don't have any follow-ups here. Let's pretend the summer series that's normally $20, I want to charge $5. So whatever that may be, you are able to set it up here in the system, and you're able to add it, them and set a specific pricing. Just make sure when you add in here, make sure that you save it after you have entered. I probably am missing. This is a fake, a fake client, so probably that's why it's missing some information. Let's go ahead and add it. And that's awesome that we came down to this page because this is where I wanted to like look at it too. So right here, when we're under actions, we see appointment pricing. I'm going to go ahead and close that, but we can also see the client's insurance information in here. And if they had a card, a photo of their card, it would be loaded right in here as well. Make sure that we're saving everything before we leave. So this information is saved in here. Let's go now to the overview page. Awesome. When I scroll down through the overview page, we do have this right here, the insurance eligibility. So if you are collecting insurance information and you like to track on the client's overview profile, you do have this option. So in here, I can see all the information being pulled. And what I have here, it has been entered manually. So this is not happening automatically, but you can manually track this. So if I click the edit button, I am able to enter the numbers of visits covered, the number of visits used, and this can be anytime you are like seeing the client. If you need to like keep track of this, here's the information that you can enter, and this is where you can see it. So right in here, we have, you're able to either track in visits, hours, or units, and then you're able to enter how many. So here we have visits, so that's why we see numbers of visits. But of course, if we had hours, we would be seeing hours limit per visit and so on. You are able to modify, let's say the client had 5 visits covered and they used 2 so far. So you are able to track all of this in here. And I can see now that the client has maybe like 2 visits that hasn't been used yet. Awesome. So I know I share a lot for today. We looked at some of the settings, a lot of those automations and billing automations for collecting credit cards, sending invoices. This is it for today's class. Now we can probably open our Q&A, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second, but if there's something that will be beneficial to start sharing my screen again, I can definitely go ahead and do that. So Team, Priya, Chrissy, Jen, any questions that you'd like to maybe read it out loud and we can go over together?
I'll hop in here, Talita. Do you just quickly want to cover, we had a couple questions about having people pay at the time of booking or upfront versus after the session occurs. Do you just want to quickly touch on the difference between using packages so that they can pay upfront versus auto charge, which would of course schedule it to be after the session has occurred?
Yeah, great question. And I can definitely like touch base on that. So we definitely have another, like, I know I keep mentioning this, but we do have another live class on packages, which would be really beneficial for probably you to take it. So if you're planning on collecting payment before you see the client, you can of course put that service into a package. So let's click in billing, client packages. And then right here is where I can share my service and add it. So let's go ahead. Let me see if I have any. Oh, my packages are hidden now. Let's go ahead and edit one of my packages. Under included items, right in here is where I'm able to include my session. So let's say I am selling my initial one-on-one consultation for $100. We do have a few other settings here, require appointment booking during purchase. I love this one because it lets the client book right when they're purchasing the package. So let's say if this is $100 on the next window right now under pricing, you do have the option to put the price right in here. So let's say this is a one-time payment of $100. I can go ahead and update. I think I didn't update the, oh, I did. Okay, awesome. I see the initial right here. So if I'm clicking on the share and the sharing link, I can copy. Let's just look at it together and see what it looks like. You could share this with your clients. And the really cool thing about it is that you are able to make packages or bundles, right? So you can either share this where the client can go ahead and pay first for the appointment. And this window would it be you're able to choose the appointment, and then it lets you choose like the day and the time. It's just because some of my settings is turned off. That's why it's blocking me from doing this. And also because I am logged in as a provider, it's not going to let me behave as a client in the system. So if you do have like a test client that you're using the platform, I definitely either suggest you testing it out in incognito mode or using like a different browser. Maybe you can use like Safari and Chrome to test it out, like both behavior as a client, as a provider. But right here, that's where we are able to put our service. And another thing that I would like to flag it as well is that under included items, you're able to add multiple ones, right? So if this is a initial consultation and maybe some group webinars or discovery call or like follow-ups, whatever it would be, you're able to add everything into a package. So if you're planning on charging clients first, the best way is to put them into a client package and share that way with your client versus just sharing your calendar, right? Like if you're sharing like your calendar for clients to book your appointments, this way, if you're going through this window, they're going to be paying after they talk to you, right? So that's why I asked some of those questions at the beginning of the class for you to like think about it when you want to be charging your clients, if it's before or after you talk to them. Awesome. Any questions? Any more questions, team?
One other question that came up earlier, Talita, is if you can turn on auto charging for just your providers or specific client groups, or if it's organization wide when you turn that setting on.
Those settings, it is organization wide, so you're not able to turn it on just for a specific just for specific providers. Yeah, Felicia, I see your question coming in. Sorry, I was like reading the question as I'm here. So if you're doing a discovery call, so in order for your clients actually to be charged for an appointment is only if you're putting a cost to the appointment, right? So under the settings, we have our appointments, we have all those settings that we do turn it on or turn it off. Remember, if we're like enabling this automation. However, the actual pricing for appointment, it's optional. You don't need it to have it. You're able to have all of those things turned on under the setting and pricing. But then when you go to the appointment type, for example, I have this initial consultation in here, the three little dots to the right. In the pricing, I could have nothing in here. So I could make sure that my clients are not being charged. So especially for those discovery calls where you're offering, it's normally like a free discovery call. That's what I've seen. You don't have to worry about it. So unless you're adding price per appointment type in this window right here, that's when your clients is going to be charged. If you're leaving this blank, you're leaving this as 0, you don't have to worry about your clients being charged for anything unless you set it up in the platform that way. We have a few minutes maybe for a few other questions. Any other questions that the team want to maybe read it out loud?
I have one more example if you could talk through slash show, which is in regard to if you are billing insurance for a specific client and they have any cost share associated with that, how you can kind of marry these two things, the one auto charging and then the two insurance billing. So for example, like how you might be able to set a client's payment amount to be for their cost share amount and your options around that.
Let me see if I understood the question correct. So would it being maybe having the specific price for the
Right.
client?
Yeah.
So like if they have like insurance and they're charging something differently, and maybe you just want to charge them like a co-pay, whatever that may be for the appointment. Is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
the general example.
Awesome. So yeah, so if we have like a specific pricing, you could set it up in here. So you're only charging them partially if you're sending the rest of it like through the insurance directly. So through the appointment pricing, you're for especially those like insurance people, you are able to maybe only have like a copay or like a lower amount set it up here initially. So then you can charge the rest of it to the insurance directly. I'm not sure who the question was from, but does that clarify your question?
Yeah, I think so. And just to speak to that a bit more, this was from Lori. That you can consider that option. And then alternatively, if you prefer to bill for it after remittance advice comes back and insurance comes back with how much is the client's responsibility, then alternatively, you might consider just manually charging them or invoicing them for that amount after the fact as well. But this would simply be if you want to have that copay automatically billed after the session has occurred.
Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you, everyone. I know that we are at time or end of the class. This will be recorded. I'll make sure that I follow up with the team to make sure that everyone that it is asking for the copy of the recording that you can receive it. If you have any questions, reach out to our team, hello@gethealthy.com. We're here. We're happy to support you. We understand that you as a provider, sometimes you're coming in, you're starting something new, and this might be out of your scope, right? Like billing and automations. So definitely reach out to our team. We're here. We're always happy to support. Hope everyone have an amazing rest of your day. And if you need anything, again, we're here for you. We're happy to supporting you. Hope you guys have a good day. Take care. Thanks everyone for joining. Bye.